This video covers installing, using, and maintaining the WTC Model 400T track press. The WTC 400T track press disassembles and assembles the track chain used on bulldozers, excavators, and other tracked equipment. By rotating the worn pins and bushings and replacing other worn track chain parts, the life of the track chain is extended at low cost. The WTC 400T track press is part of a track chain service system. Other equipment to complete the system includes the PLD pad lift system, the EL10000 electric torque wrench, removes and reinstalls track pad bolts, as well as our lubricator to test and lubricate the seals and track chains. Use care in locating the WTC 400T track press. The recommended site for the track press should be well lit, protected from rain and other precipitation, and from extremes of temperature. A lifting device, usually a bridge crane or a jib crane, over the track press makes handling tooling and track chain parts easier. Provide walkways on all sides of the press to encourage safe working and simplify maintenance. If an existing floor is used, make sure it will support the track press and that it will withstand the shock loads from track chain disassembly. The recommended floor is 6 inches minimum thickness reinforced concrete beneath the track press and 4 inches minimum thickness reinforced concrete beneath the index table and the conveyor system. For best results, the floor under the track press, index table, and conveyor system should be leveled to within 1/2 inch, but shims or millwright grout can be used to level the floor below the conveyor system. The track press, index table, and conveyor system must be secured to the floor, either with masonry, expansion anchors, or threaded studs included in the floor. Tools and supplies required for installation. Installing the WTC 400T track press requires a few major tools and supplies. A complete list of necessary tools can be found in your WTC Machinery 400T Operator's Manual in Section 3. Position the track press and index table. Position the main part of the track press on the prepared floor and attach it to the floor with 4 anchors or studs, up to 1 inch or 25 millimeters in diameter. Move the index table into position at the back of the track press and bolt the track press using the 2 provided bolts. Anchor the index table to the floor with 2 anchors or studs of up to 3/4 of an inch or 19 millimeters in diameter. Find the 4 hoses for the index table and pass them through the rings on the right side of the table. Connect 2 of the hoses to the index motor, matching the marking tags, and install pin on cylinder to indexer. Position the control console. Unpack the control console and slide this into place at the right side of the track press. Pass the large junction box conduit around the right end of the track press frame and install to the fitting at the rear of the control panel. Tighten the fitting and connect the wires from the conduit to the terminal block inside the control panel, matching the wire numbers with the terminal block numbers. Locate the 2 small hoses from the hydraulic power unit to the bulkhead fitting. Connect the hoses to the fittings inside the front of the control console, matching the tag numbers, and tighten the hose fittings. Assemble the conveyor system and optional pad lift system. Unpack the conveyor system and pad lift if included. And please note, the conveyor system and pad lift system parts are stamped with numbers to show their locations. See the drawing in the manual. If the optional pad lift system is included, loosely assemble the conveyor system parts in the steps below. Tighten the conveyor and pad lift systems and anchoring the legs to the floor after the pad lift system is tested. Begin by positioning the center legs and lift legs. Turn all of the lift legs so the manifold support angles face the left side of the conveyor system. Place the roller conveyors on the legs, matching the stamped numbers. The first roller conveyor overlaps the back of the index table by 12 inches. Bolt the roller conveyors to the legs using the supplied fasteners. Do not tighten the bolts yet. Do this after the pad lift system is tested. If the optional pad lift system is included, please refer to the manual for complete installation instructions. Finally, install the track chute to the last roller conveyor using the provided hardware. Fill the reservoirs. Check that all hydraulic fittings are tight. There are 2 20-gallon reservoirs on the 400T track press, located on each end on top of the press frame. Open the reservoir fill cap and fill to the top of the sight gauge, about 20 gallons or 76 liters. A large cross-feed hose between the two reservoirs is provided to equalize the fluid level in the tanks during rapid advance and retract cycles. After cycling the main press rams in and out several times, check the reservoir levels with the main rams fully retracted. The top oil level should be visible in the sight glass on each reservoir, and be sure not to overfill. There is a ball valve shutoff on the right reservoir where the pump suction line connects to the tank. Make certain this valve is open before attempting to start the system. Recommended hydraulic fluids have a viscosity that meets ISO 32 or an SUS from 100 to 200 over the expected temperature range. The fluid should withstand pressures to 5,000 psi and contain anti-wear additives suitable for use with hydraulic pumps. After the reservoir is filled, check all hydraulic fittings for leaks and retighten if needed. Check that the supply voltage matches the WTC 400T wiring shown on the electrical tag on the main panel. If the tag does not match the supply voltage, contact WTC machinery for assistance. The electrical supply to the track press should be sized for the current demand of the track press and have an earth ground, a lockable shutoff, and overcurrent protection. Connect the electrical supply to the disconnect switch inside the main panel. With electrical connections complete, check that the motor rotates the correct direction. Apply power to the track press and turn on the main panel's disconnect switch. Position a helper to watch the end of the electric motor on the hydraulic power unit and briefly run the electric motor by pressing the control console's start and stop push buttons. The motor should rotate clockwise when looking at the end of the motor. If not, turn off all power to the track press and exchange any two of the three leads to the disconnect switch. Reconnect the power to the track press and retest the motor's rotation. Bleed air from the hydraulic system. After the motor rotates properly, jog the motor on and off several times and then run the motor for several minutes without moving any controls. This filters the hydraulic fluid. Run the index table cylinder drive for several full strokes, moving the index table joystick to the indexer forward position and then run it in reverse by moving the joystick to the indexer reverse position. Also, raise and lower the index table several times, moving the joystick between the index lift up and down index lift positions. Next, using the main ram handles at the control console, extend and retract each of the main cylinders several times and then retract them past the midpoint of the stroke. If the track press includes the optional pad lift system, loosen the two cap fittings at the end of the pad lift manifolds and place an oil pan under the manifold ends. Find one of the handheld remote controls shipped with the track press and enable it by first turning on the remote power switch on the control console and then pressing the Start On button on the remote control. Hold for 4 seconds. Now press the Up button on the remote control and hold it until a steady stream of fluid comes out of one of the manifolds. Tighten the cap on that manifold, then release the Up button. Press and hold the Down button on the remote until a steady stream of fluid comes out of the other manifold. Tighten the cap on that manifold and release the Down button. Raise and lower the pad lift system several times to bleed any trapped air in the cylinders and hoses. Lower the pad lift system, turn off the track press, and check the fluid level in the hydraulic power unit's reservoir. Add fluid if needed to bring the level up to the top of the sight gauge. Complete the pad lift system assembly. If the pad lift system is included, move along the conveyor system one section at a time, tightening all of the bolts on the roller conveyors, outer rails, and lifting bars for that section. Once a section is completely tight, hold the top faces of lift bars in line with each other and weld the gap between the lift bars together along their top faces and the upper 4 inches or 100 millimeters of inside and outside vertical faces. After welding, grind the vertical welds flush. Also, pull the outer rails for the section in line with each other and weld the tops and vertical faces of the rails together, and weld the bottom edge of the outer rails to the center legs, lifting legs, and indexer. Continue on to the next section until the entire conveyor system is complete. Finally, install masonry anchors on all the legs. Check impact or torque wrench travel. Finally, if an impact wrench or torque wrench is used with the track press, mount it on the conveyor system. Adjust the wrench carriage wheels following the wrench's manual. Move the wrench along the length of the conveyor system's outer rails and grind back any areas on the outer rails that cause the wrench to bind. Once the wrench travels freely, mount stop blocks to the outer rails near the track chute to prevent the wrench from accidentally moving past the end of the outer rails. This completes installing the WTC 400T track press. Using the track press. Track chain repair, also called a pin and bushing turn, reconditions worn track chains by rotating worn pins and bushings and replacing damaged parts. The WTC 400T track press disassembles the track chain, pressing the pins and bushings from the track links, and then reassembles the chain after reconditioning. Before servicing a track chain, make sure the correct tools are available and in good condition, free of mushrooming, chips, and cracks. Refer to the 91 series and C-style tooling charts, available separately, to select the correct tooling for a particular track chain. With the tooling installed and the pressing rams fully retracted, raise the index table. At the control console, push the pump start button and move the index table joystick to the index lift up position. Adjust the table's guide arms to the left or right so they clear the upright part of the jaw or saddle. Bring the track chain in line with the conveyor system at the end of the track chute with track pads up and the bushing end of the track links closest to the track press. Move to the winch, disengage the clutch handle, and pull the winch cable out to reach the track chain. Pass the cable under the first 3 or 4 bushings and pin the loop at the winch cable's end to the rack chain links with a heavy bar. Engage the winch again with the clutch handle. Push the pump start button at the control console to start the track press and turn the remote control switch to on. Locate the handheld remote control and push the start on button for 4 seconds to enable the remote control. Push the east button to reel in the winch cable and track chain. Continue until the track chain is completely on the conveyor system. Use a torque or impact wrench to remove the track pad bolts. WTC machinery provides 2 wrenches for removing pad bolts: the EL10000 electric torque wrench, WTC machinery part number 99-000, and the WS5E-3 electric impact wrench, WTC machinery part number 530-614. If the track chain is being completely disassembled, remove all of the track pad's bolts. If doing a 2-bolt turn, remove the pad bolts from only one side of the track chain. If the track press is equipped with the optional pad lift system and not doing a 2-bolt turn, raise the track pads off of the track chain. To use the pad lift system, start the track press with the pump start button and turn the remote control switch to on. This is a secondary safety switch for operator and shop safety. Locate the handheld remote control and push the start on button for 4 seconds to enable the remote control. Push the up button to raise the pad lift system and lift the track pads off of the track chain. Finish loading the track chain once the pads are removed. Lower the index table until the pawl is clear of the top of the index table. Reel in the winch, push the button on the remote control to pull the track chain onto the index table. Continue until about 3 feet or 1 meter of the track chain is on the table. Disconnect the cable from the chain and wind up the cable. Disengage the winch. Note: to prevent damage to the index table tooling, only lift the index table when the right and left arms are fully retracted. Retract both main rams using the control console's left and right ram handles and raise the index table joystick to index lift up position. Advance the track chain joystick to indexer forward until the front bushing on the track chain is above the jaw pocket closest to the index table. Lower the track chain into the jaw, joystick to down index table. Jog the track chain forward or reverse if needed to center the track chain in the jaw pocket. If the track chain bushings do not touch the bottoms of the jaw pockets, adjust the index table guide arms. Slowly advance the left and right rams until the tooling almost touches the track chain, and adjust the tooling so that it aligns with the track chain pin and bushing. Retighten the horizontal clamp adjuster block bolts after adjusting. More detailed instructions on tooling adjustment, as well as for all other styles of tools, are available in the manual. Once the tooling is installed and aligned, disassemble the track chain. Please refer to your manual for instructions on how to disassemble the track chain. A few notes on disassembly. Always read and follow the track manufacturer's service procedures. The pressing force is limited to 30 tons when the safety door is open. Always close the safety doors when disassembling the track chain. This allows the press to develop full pressing force and protects against flying debris. Use master bushing adapters on track chain with master links and recessed bushings. After the track chain is disassembled, remove the disassembly tooling and install the assembly tools. Generally, assembly and disassembly tools maintain alignment to the pins and bushings, but track chain bushings will sit higher in the jaw pocket when turned over during a bushing turn, so always check the alignment of the assembly tools before use. See page 16 for aligning tooling. Once the tooling is installed and aligned, assemble the track chain. Always read and follow the manufacturer's guidelines for cleaning, lubrication, and assembly steps and pressing force. Before assembling the track chain, set the pressing force. Turn the remote pressure control to set the correct force. See the tonnage chart located on the 400T track press and on page 20 in the manual to choose the correct pressure for the track chain. Always use the recommended force to assemble track. Extra force damages pins, bushings, and seals, misaligns the links, and shortens the tooling life. Place a pin and bushing set in the front jaw pocket, furthest from the index table, and the bushing end split links for standard links on master link chain on either side of it. Align the link holes with the bushing and adjust the index table guide arms if needed to hold the links at the correct height. Extend the left ram until the left tools touch the left link. Press both the links onto the bushing using the left and right rams together until the ram force reaches the setting. Release the ram handles and open the safety door. Check the track pad bolt holes for proper spacing and adjust the pressing force, if needed, to get the correct track pad bolt spacing. Fully retract both rams and raise the index table. Push the assembled track back so the bushing is above the jaw pocket nearest the index table and lower the index table. Place a pin and bushing set in the jaw pocket furthest from the index table. Place standard links on either side of it, aligned with the pin and bushing. Repeat steps 2, 3, and 4 to assemble the rest of the track chain. Once enough chain is put together, use the index table to move the chain in step 5. Tooling adapts the WTC 400T track press to the different makes and models of track chain and does the actual pushing to take apart and reassemble the track. Each track chain has its own dimensions, so it's important to use the correct tooling for a particular chain. There are several types of track press tooling. The WTC 400T track press uses nearly all of them, including 91 series or cam lock tooling, C-style or spring-loaded tooling, and 93 series spring-loaded cam lock, all available from WTC machinery. For general identification, see page 21 of the manual for C-style tooling, page 22 for 91 series and 93 series tooling, and page 24 for jaws, also called saddles or anvils. To find the tooling to work a particular model of track chain, see the 91 series, 93 series, and C-style tooling charts provided separately or contact WTC machinery. Preventative maintenance, hydraulic oil, and filters. Remember the importance of keeping the hydraulic system clean. Dirt in hydraulic systems can cause serious and expensive damage to hydraulic equipment. Damaged hydraulic parts are less productive, less capable, and can be dangerous. Below is a brief list of dirt's effect on some hydraulic parts. Change the track press's hydraulic fluid and filters regularly based on how hard and under what conditions the track press is used. A reasonable plan is to schedule a fluid change once every 6 months, although the oil should be checked occasionally before this. If the hydraulic fluid shows dirt, moisture, or discoloration, changing more often is a good idea. To change the hydraulic fluid, there are 2 hydraulic reservoirs on the 400T track press. Remove the covers on both reservoirs and use a fluid transfer pump to empty both tanks. Each has a capacity of approximately 20 gallons. Use a work light to check the bottom of the reservoir for dirt or debris and clean if needed. Replace the element in the return filter, part number 527-1668. Fill a hydraulic reservoir with fresh hydraulic fluid to the top of the sight gauge in each reservoir. See page 12 for hydraulic fluid recommendations. Then replace the covers, making sure they are properly tightened. Hydraulic fittings and equipment. Once every month, look for loose or leaking hydraulic fittings. Tighten or replace leaking fittings. Also, inspect hydraulic valves, pumps, motors, and cylinders for leaks and loose mounting hardware. Replace or service leaking equipment and tighten or replace loose hardware. Hydraulic hoses. Once every month, inspect the hydraulic hoses for leaks, kinks, frays, or cracks. Replace any damaged hoses. Before each use, inspect 1 1/4 inch jaw bolts. Replace any bolts that are cracked, mushroomed, or have damaged threads. Always torque the jaw bolts to 1,000 plus or minus 100 foot-pounds before use. Under-torquing can damage the jaws, while over-torquing damages the bolts and the threads in the track press frame. The winch cable. Before every use, inspect the winch cable for wear, fraying, or corkscrewing. Replace the cable if it is damaged. For troubleshooting assistance, please contact WTC Machinery and our in-house team of service technicians and engineers will be happy to help. Give us a call at 262-567-3993 or email us at WTCmachinery.com. WTC Machinery, engineered to perform, built to last.